Hey everyone, I'm Bradley and welcome to Zlangle. This is the first episode of Zlangle Nerd News, where I talk about all the news from the past week or so, and I discuss my opinions and my thoughts on those topics. So I'm going to begin with an interesting one. Ben Affleck is officially done as Batman. Now, we've known this for a while now. It's been pretty much known by everyone for a couple of years now. Ever since before Justice League came out, we knew that Ben Affleck was probably not going to be Batman again. And now it's official. He went on Jimmy Kimmel. He talked about he's not Batman anymore, and he's officially done. But of course, we still have the Matt Reeves movie coming out, so we're going to get a new Batman soon. So that's good news. But this is kind of a bittersweet news, because on one hand, I really did like how he portrayed the character in Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and you know, I would have wanted him to do at least one more, to see him continue on with that character, but at the same time, in Justice League, they didn't really do very well with him. They made him too jokey and put in a lot of weird humor and things, and it's not Ben Affleck's fault, of course, but I think it is time for him to move on. I think the DCEU is going into a new direction where, you know, they've said that they're not going to try to focus on the universe aspect of it. They're going to focus on the solo films like Aquaman, Wonder Woman 2, the Birds of Prey movie with Harley Quinn, Shazam, stuff like that. So we're probably not even going to get a new Justice League in a while. I don't even know if we're going to see Aquaman and Wonder Woman meet again, you know, on screen. And so yeah, this is not totally surprising, but it is still noteworthy because, you know, WB has been back and forth on whether he's going to be Batman again, and it looks like he will not be. So we're just going to have to wait for that new announcement of who's going to be the new Batman, and if that Batman's going to be in the same universe, or it's going to be a kind of prequel of like an early Ben Affleck version, or if it's going to be, you know, whatever they're going to do. We'll just have to wait for that announcement. I think they might have already cast the new Batman, to be honest. I think they at least know who it's going to be, but of course we're not going to find out for a while, so hang tight, guys. Next up, we have really exciting news. Hulu is going to do 4 different animated series of Marvel characters, and one of them, if you know me at all, you know I'm really excited for this one, is Howard the Duck. He is one of my absolute favorite characters. No, not because of the movie. The movie wasn't the pinnacle of superhero movie achievements. But in the original Steve Gerber comics, he is one of my favorite characters. So if you want to check those out, I would encourage that. But the 4 animated series they're going to do is, number 1, Howard the Duck. Like I said, I just want him to be done right. He's been known for the movie for so long. You know, even when he popped up in Guardians of the Galaxy, that's the first thing people thought of, obviously. And I just want him to have a new chance for people to know and think about him when they see him. So hopefully this animated series by Kevin Smith, by the way, which, if you know Kevin Smith, he is pretty awesome. He made Clerks and multitude of other films. He was a friend of Stan Lee's. I really like his work, and I trust him. Out of almost anyone they could have announced, I trust Kevin Smith with the Howard the Duck property more than almost anyone else they could have announced. So that makes me happy. I want to read a quote that Kevin Smith said about the show. He said, "The times we're living in deserve an orator who can identify all the quacks in the system, a straight shooter who won't leave us holding the bill. Thanks to Marvel and Hulu, I get to do foul things to one of my all-time favorite comic book characters in animation. Let's be honest, I'm not talented enough to handle any of the Avengers, but Howard is definitely in my wheelhouse. However, the real brains of our operation is a legit cartoon genius, the great meatwad himself, Aqua Teen Hunger Force's Dave Willis. So prepare to get ducked hard." So right off the bat, duck puns. I mean, the movie had its fair share of those, but I won't dock any points from Kevin Smith for that. So like I said, Howard the Duck, I'm excited. The next one they're going to do is Modok. If you know anything about Modok, he's a Marvel character. He's known as Modok, which is M-O-D-O-K, and it stands for Mental Organism Designed Only for Killing. So he's a villain, but it looks like they're going to focus on different aspects of his life. I guess, because in the synopsis it mentions they will follow the supervillain with the really big head and really small body as he fights to keep control of his organization and his needy family. So I'm not quite sure who the needy family would be. Are those the people at AIM? The advanced idea mechanics? Who knows? We'll have to wait for... If you guys know, let me know in the comments. I'm curious what they mean by family. But what really gets me excited about this is Patton Oswalt, who, you should know him. He is going to produce, and it looks like he's going to voice the character. I wasn't sure if he was going to voice him, but he later said, that he was born to play the character, unfortunately. So it looks like that's going to happen. Next up, we have Hitmonkey. Admittedly, I have never read a comic book with the Hitmonkey character in it. I know the character, I've seen the character, I've seen covers, with Hitmonkey on it, but I don't think I've actually read a Hitmonkey comic or a comic with Hitmonkey in the story. It says, Hitmonkey will follow a Japanese snow monkey who trains with the ghost of an American assassin to prepare for a bloody and darkly comical revenge trip through the seedy Tokyo underworld. So, who knows? I don't know quite what the tone of these shows are going for. I don't know if they're going for more adult, in the vein of any adult animated shows that exist. I don't think these will be too too kid-friendly, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to go full rated R with it. So I think it'll be a nice PG-13 leaning toward, adult material. But then again, we have the next one up is Tigra and Dazzler is going to share a show. And it says they're going to face one of their biggest battles yet, recognition from other superpowered people in Los Angeles. So, it doesn't seem like that show would go too violent or too vulgar. It seems like they might want to market that toward females and maybe young girls. I don't know. Kind of like what they're doing with Captain Marvel and the Marvel Rising things, Because all these characters are going to team up apparently in what is being called the Offenders, with an O, the Offenders. And I'm not sure if this is going to be another series or just a team-up film type thing, kind of like, the Defenders was, maybe it'll just be like one season, but the others will keep going on. I don't know. But whatever they're going to do with this, I can't wait. Just look at that picture. I don't love the design of Howard the Duck. He looks like he does in the most recent comics and in the film, Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. But there's something off, I think. And I realized what it was while I was thinking about this earlier. I think it's his eyes. His eyes are too small, and they try to make him look too realistic almost. Because the original Howard the Duck was almost, he was almost a cartoon. He wasn't really a cartoon. He was, living in the world, but he, it was very exaggerated, his face. While everything else in the series was very, normal and very human and very, very real. Howard was very, stood out a lot because of his exaggerated cartoonish features. And I think that's what's missing from the recent comics and the animation is that it looks like they're almost trying to make him look too serious, too realistic. I don't know. But hey, it's just his eyes or whatever. It's not a big deal. I can live with it. If Kevin Smith can bring it and bring a great show that we can all love, I'll be fine. Next up on the list of news is a spin-off for the Aquaman film. It looks like they're going to do a film about the trench, which is, in the film, and all those, monsters that are in there, the trench creatures. And when I first heard this, I was puzzled, to say the least, because, I think Aquaman is the highest grossing DC movie ever, worldwide. And so it makes sense that they're going to, spin off, do more films. But I thought they would do more of, like a Mira spin-off. Or they would do, I don't know, maybe a Black Manta spin, whatever, I don't know, different characters that really stood out in the film. And while the trench and those creatures did stand out, I don't really know what the point of making a film about the trench is. Really, anybody could just make an underwater horror film with creatures. I don't know why it has to be set in the DCEU, but then again, why not why not have it be a comic book property? I'm up for all kinds of different comic book, I love it when studios take chances, like with Deadpool or Logan or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. They try new things with comic book properties. I love that. So, I mean, again, kind of like with the Hulu shows, I mean, if they can bring it, if whoever's going to make it makes it well, and, people love it, it's a great horror film, then who am I to complain? I'll just sit there and watch and enjoy it, but I will wonder are they going to have any comic book characters in it? Like, at all? Is it going to be tied in the least with Aquaman? Is it going to have, a reference? Is it going to have... What I would love to see is some smaller Aquaman characters, like, Aqualad. Either, Garth or Calderon, I think. What's his real name? Jackson Hyde, the second one from Young Justice. I would love to see characters like that be in this film. Maybe not even like in a superhero capacity, just they're there as characters in the horror film. And, I mean, who knows? I mean, because how are they going to have people? Are they going to have people be stuck in the trench? Like regular, normal people? Are they going to have people going through and going to that place where Aquaman's mom was stuck in? I'm not quite sure how you would do it without without connection to Atlantis, or I don't know. Again, this is very early, and I honestly have doubts if it's actually going to happen. But Aquaman made a lot of money. Studios like making money. Studios like making spin-offs to make money. So if the Aquaman train keeps on going, I'm sure it'll stop along a trench sooner or later. Next up, this is kind of old news. This came out a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. But since this is my first episode of this new incarnation of Zlangle Nerd News, I didn't get to talk about it when it came out. So I decided, why not now? So there was a promotional image that was released of Avengers Endgame, where it features Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Hulk, and Hawkeye. And it reveals, it's kind of the first good look we have of them in their costumes and their, what they're going to look like in the movie. But it's curious because there's a few interesting things. One, Hulk is wearing clothes. I know. Well, we never really see that. I'm not really sure why he's wearing it. I mean, we've seen some, what you could call, like, quantum realm suits, I guess, is the theory, where, they're all white and I think red. So that would make sense why Hulk would wear that, but why is he wearing kind of a gray, purple suit? The only theory I have is maybe he's going to become, like the combination of Hulk and Bruce Banner, and they work together and become one entity. I don't know. Where it's like Smart Hulk. But I don't love the idea. I mean, I always loved the idea of Bruce Banner trying to contain the Beast, and then Hulk gets out when he doesn't want it to, and then Havoc happens, and I would love to have Havoc happen in Avengers Endgame, because we really didn't get to see him in Infinity War. We got him, at the very beginning, and we never saw him again. And that trailer lied to us, that showed us Hulk running with the others, that wasn't even in the movie. But I'm not going to blame him. So I don't love the idea of that's like Superman, right? Just having a being that just has, an immense, unlimited strength. What's the fun in that, Yeah, I mean, I love Superman, but that's why I like Hulk a little more, So I found that interesting. Number 2 is Black Widow's hair, because it's red, but in the movies it's blonde still. Like in the trailer, we saw her have blonde hair still. And does she die? I mean, so is this like a passage of time then? Or the stuff we saw in the trailer maybe was right after Infinity War happened, and then there's some kind of time jump? And so now, all this, them being superheroes again is like in a while in the future? I don't know. If you look carefully, it almost looks like her hair is red and then it goes down in the braid and becomes blonde again. Is that just me? Am I crazy? Maybe this was just photoshopped and she's still blonde and they just did it to make it look cooler. I don't know. I do like her outfit though. I think it's better than like the one she had in, I think, Age of Ultron, where it had like blue, like lights in it. I wasn't a big fan of that. It was kind of like, she's supposed to be a stealthy assassin, fighter chick, whatever you want to call her. That somehow works for S.H.I.E.L.D. later. Anyway, she's supposed to be, this kind of, she wears all black, and so she can blend in maybe better. But then she's just wearing lights, and it's like, well, and they don't do anything. Like, what's the point? But so I like this. It kind of goes back to the kind of the classic. Has a little bit of red in there for her little red spider symbol, her little Black Widow. Another thing I like is Captain America finally has scales on his suit. Guys, I have been waiting for this to happen for so long. He finally has look at that. It's beautiful. I've loved, I think, every single Captain America suit. Even the Avengers one, which wasn't the best, but hey, it's better than what we could have had, or what we did have. And while I've always liked them, and they kind of adapted the original costume to kind of a military style, but just having the scales on at least the top, torso part of his suit is just so glorious to look at. I love how Marvel, especially, DC does this too a little bit, but Marvel especially takes small things like that from the comics, and it wouldn't affect anyone else who looks at it. If, some of my friends who just watched the movies, or my mom, or the people I talk to at work, or, the people I talk to on the streets, or just walking around, or whatever, they don't care. They're not going to notice. It makes no difference to them. But they add that in there just for us, and it doesn't take away the quality from other people watching. It's not an inside joke. It's not it's not a thing that excludes the majority of your audience that are paying to see this movie, because it's just like a little thing that just makes us happy, and I really appreciate that. And it looks cool. They adapt it. Some people think you can't adapt every superhero costume. I disagree. I think any superhero costume can be adapted to look amazing. I think Wolverine could be adapted to look cool. I think, the Vision was adapted. Look at that Vision costume. Look at that. They took that and made it into a movie, and he's been in $2 billion movies. Or no, wait, 3. Every movie he's been in has been $1 billion. He was in Age of Ultron, Civil War, and Infinity War. Every single movie he's made over $1 billion. A character with red skin and, green and yellow and like a little cape, and he just looks weird, right? But they did it. So I think you can take any costume and make it look acceptable on screen. And every movie, they prove that with Captain America. He has a cheesy costume. I love it, but, most people might think it's cheesy. And they took that and they made it into something that works. Okay, guys, last topic of today. I know, this is kind of ending on a down note, kind of a little bit sad, but Oreo the raccoon. He was the visual inspiration for Rocket Raccoon in the Guardians of the Galaxy films. He is a little raccoon in real life, and he has passed away, unfortunately. I think he was like maybe 15-ish, 14. It was something like that. And he unfortunately passed away. I actually knew about Oreo a while ago when they first were talking about making the film, the first Guardians. I remember Oreo the raccoon, and I remember people talking about him, and James Gunn would come out and he had pictures, of the raccoon up on his shoulder and stuff. It was just really cool. It's cool to actually think that, they studied and modeled an actual raccoon, right? Because James Gunn's famous for saying that he didn't want, Bugs Bunny in the Avengers. He didn't want some cartoony little, cartoon animal walking around. He wanted a real life, actual, he wanted to feel like an actual raccoon, an alien raccoon, but an actual raccoon was in the team. He wanted to make it feel like this was a real living, breathing entity that we could relate with, that was an actual character. They did it with Oreo. Look at him. That's like the most raccoony raccoon I've ever seen in my life. And he did his job well, you know. His job, his purpose in life was to look like a raccoon, and he pulled it off pretty great. He lived a good life, I think. I'm not really sure how long raccoons usually live.
Oh, what the hell? I don't got that long a lifespan anyway.
But he might have actually became the most famous actual raccoon that has ever lived. And thank you, James Gunn, again, for bringing Rocket Raccoon to screen and making him so incredible, because it could have went wrong, guys. You guys realize that Guardians of the Galaxy could have went wrong in so many ways? Think about every bad sci-fi movie you've ever seen in the last 10 years. That could have been Guardians of the Galaxy. A tree that only says one sentence, a jerky raccoon with a gun, a main character from Parks and Recreation, and a green chick and a green guy with tattoos all over him for some reason. I mean, it could have been a disaster, but James Gunn came in, had an idea. I mean, I know Nicole Perlman did like a little rough draft, and she kind of did the first script for it, but James Gunn came in and added a lot to that. I mean, you know, it was a completely different tone and thing and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, thanks, James Gunn. Sorry you were fired and all that. But I'm excited for his Suicide Squad movie, so that'll be fun. Any news comes up about that, and I'll, of course, bring it up on the show. Anyway, guys, that was Zlangle Nerd News. Do you want it longer? Do you want it shorter? Let me know in the comments. What went wrong? Did I do horribly this time? For all I know, this sucked, and nobody's going to like it, and nobody's going to listen to it. But, I mean, you know, that's just life, I guess. So if you want me to do more of this, because I will anyway, so stick around. But if you want to see more of this, let me know in the comments. You know, I like hearing from you guys. I read the comments. I really enjoy it. It's really fun for me. Sometimes you might even say that it's my only reason for living. So thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time. Nuff said, and Excelsior.